Horses, am I right? So, it feels only right that I talk about this. I've always kind of wanted to be a bit of a yap master, whether that be online or in person. And one of those things that I've kind of wanted to talk about are ponies, or more specifically, people who subscribe to maybe that pony lifestyle. So this will be part of a series that I'd like to call hoursoboros, in reference to the fact that bronies are really the cockroach of the armpit that is the internet. And I'd like to talk about how they're just kind of ever present. Everywhere you go, there's a brony. Fascism, they got bronies. Gay people, they got bronies. The United States military, they got hella bronies. My point being, if that wasn't specific enough, everywhere has bronies. You can't escape bronies. Unfortunately, you have probably come into contact with bronies more often than you've wanted to. And if you're sitting there like, hey man, I don't mind bronies. Good. I don't either. But I don't know. I just kind of wanted to have a chat about bronies, ponies, you know. So, this video is sort of just me wanting to be nostalgic before I'm old enough to even have, like, second thoughts about anything. I grew up in this unique position where the internet was really booming, but everybody was still disconnected enough to where you didn't quite have a grasp on who liked what and who was in what niche community. And so you would talk to these people online, and they were just so far removed from yourself that it was this sense of comfort knowing that you could be so close and yet so isolated. At least for me, a person who's kind of introverted, I'm not very good at talking to people. I really like this sense of, like, belonging to a larger community without having to necessarily interact face to face with those individuals. I grew up consuming Generation 2 and Generation 3. If you're not familiar, which I'm sure if you, for whatever unfortunate reason, clicked on this video, you know that MLP is actually a multi-generational series. And it's best divided visually, at least, by the art styles. So some people, when they think of My Little Pony, they think of kind of like the more, I mean, all of them have the same kind of colorful horses, but some people might think of the generation that had humans in it. There's multiple of those, but kind of for different reasons. Some people might think of, like, kind of the more horse-like proportioned ones. Some people might think of, like, the more cartoon ones. I'm not going to go into all that. I mean, if you're interested, you can go look it up. I mean, go watch it. I'm not going to discourage you from watching MLP. It's not going to hurt you. What personally drew me to the brony community was a large, like, melting pot of things. So, like, for instance, as an artist, in general, the community, the art, the shows, even the toys, I mean, they had great colors, impressive designs, and there was always kind of a thorough melding, an even mix of, okay, we need to develop this character and give it a backstory, but it also needs to be visually appealing so that we can sell merchandise. You know, I mean, we love consumerism. Duh. No, we don't. But I do like being able to put myself into the place of whatever it is that I'm consuming. And while I can't necessarily directly relate to Technicolor horses, you know, I mean, they've got stories too, so it was just easy for me to get into that, I guess. I was a teenager. I think, when you are a kind of lonely bastard teen that just sucks. I was just annoying, okay? I mean, I'm annoying now, but I was annoying. I was a loser. You know, when you're a loser, it's really easy for you to go, man, those horses have friendship. I want some of that. Another really big draw to the fandom was that, at least in the heyday of the fandom, a big thing online that they sort of preached was love and tolerance, or like love and tolerate. So a lot of times you would see like brohoof, love and tolerate, or whatever. And I was really into that. You know, whether or not I really consciously understood it, I knew that no matter what, as a brony, I would be accepted in the brony fandom, which sounds very like, yeah, duh, but like all walks of life were accepted in the brony fandom. And I think it's something that's not really talked about a lot. And I mean, maybe it doesn't really need to be talked about, but I always really liked that bronies were very inclusive, and they would go out of their way to make sure that everybody felt not necessarily included, but just that everybody was getting to enjoy the fandom in the way that they wanted to, right? So whether the way you enjoyed it was just quietly watching the show, maybe you made fan art, maybe you made plushes, maybe you just wanted to listen to the music, maybe you never watched the show but you only consumed like Tumblr blogs. It didn't really matter how or why you got there, it just mattered that you were there. The brony fandom was very much a movement, and I really liked that. I think that the brony fandom in general, as far as, and I guess I'm talking about kind of a time frame of maybe 2012 to 2016 was like when it really peaked. It was as much an ideology as it was a show. It was really cool seeing all the directions that bronies went. And not every direction was positive, of course, but saying that is like anything else. You know, my argument for that, and in general, the reason that I think that people hate bronies so much, and this probably feels like I'm skipping around a bit, I apologize, I crazy ADHD, again, so sue me, probably have like Technicolor horse brain disease. I think that bronies are hated so much because it's really easy to go, oh my god, they're the bad guys, when there's so many of them, right? It's such a prevalent thing that I think when you draw from the pool of bad people, you're more likely to get a bad guy who's also a brony than not. So when you look at that and you go, that guy's a bad guy, and then somebody else goes, hey, he was a brony, it's like, of course he was. I mean, a lot of people like MLP. It's, like I said, a melting pot. It very much draws people in. The mantra of the fandom really was love and tolerate for the longest time. And I think that's kind of faded into the background as of late, but it's hard for me to forget that. And so I think that for as many really great people that the fandom had, you know, there were just as many bad actors. And I think that that goes with anything. There's always going to be bad actors, and it's really easy to generalize a group of people. And it's a lot easier to generalize that group of people when the thing that they happen to have in common is that they like a show that's understood to be for little girls. So, my experience with the brony fandom, I think, really started when I snagged a couple episodes on the Hub, which I guess was like Discovery Channel's children's block, I believe. I don't know if that's still around today. I don't know. I don't watch TV. But I got into it, and then I started just like looking up and watching episodes. And it's kind of crazy, but I jumped directly from watching like episodes of MLP on YouTube to just I was a 4chaner. I was a brony 4chan enjoyer. So to jump from one to the other certainly was something, but it's another reason that I really preach the love and tolerate thing, is because that was such a big thing on the pony board on 4chan. You could not scroll a thread for 5 minutes without someone posting like a brohoof emote, or like just like a brohoof gif, like that classic like Rainbow Dash and Applejack, like I don't know, and like just love and tolerate. Like it was just love and tolerate them to death. Like I don't know. I think it speaks for itself a little bit, but I always thought that was really cool. Another thing that I got into like really heavily was Tumblr Ask blogs. I had a few of my own. No, I'm not going to name them. I don't think they still exist anymore. They were pathetic. I mean, I was 15, 16. I'm sure it was fine. It was fine. Tons of 15, 16-year-olds make awesome things. I don't think what I did was awesome, probably, but I mean, it is what it is. That's the experience of being that age. You make things, and I mean, that's how you get better at making things. So I got really into, I believe it was called Moonstuck. That was really where I got into it. That was a sequential Ask blog about Luna being stuck on the moon and kind of her adventures with that. I won't talk about it too much in case either I want to talk about it in the future or just in general. I don't know. I mean, you can't really give spoilers for something as old as that. I mean, what is that? It's got to be coming on 10 now, but it's good. If you can, go read it. Give it some love. Another really big thing for me was coming home from school and immediately getting on Equestria Jukebox. Now, if you don't know, one of the big things with the brony fandom, which again, I'm sure you do, is music. Discord, the original was by Eurobeat Brony, but the one that got big, I believe, is the Living Tombstone remix. Shoutouts Tombstone for mainstreaming brony music, I guess, but it cannot be overstated how big of a part music played in the group, in the brony fandom. And Equestria Jukebox was something that, as far as I can tell, not a lot of people remember. And it's a really big deal to me. I've actually been kind of trying to get in touch with the creator, and I've been trying for years. I just don't think, maybe he doesn't even have access to any of that anymore, but essentially it was a program that you could create playlists of music, and of course, because it was a brony revolving thing, the music that you would tend to select was usually brony music, although of course there was always like the alt and the metal and stuff. But you would make these playlists, and it had a little thing where you could make a character, like a customized character. if any of you know of General Zoi's pony creator, it was a little bit like that, but far more limited, which I absolutely cannot rag on given the capabilities of it. But essentially, you could create a little character and have it DJ and preside alongside these videos you would select. So let's say you had a playlist and you wanted to play like Lost on the Moon, Discord, Cheerily, like, I don't know, you know, Brony Bops, whatever you want to, Back in Time, whatever. You would select these and create like a YouTube playlist, because it was, I believe it was all done through YouTube. At least that's all my small mind could comprehend at the time. And then your character would kind of like, you could pick animations and it would be on screen alongside the video, and it would just generally hang out. And then there was a small chat room, so you could be like, oh guys, I'm gonna go live on Equestria Jukebox at 6, and all your friends would pile into the chat room, and you would all just be having this crazy time listening. They'd be like, dude, throw on this, throw on that, and you guys would, like, it would just be so awesome, you know, just sitting there like, oh, did you hear the new Tombstone remix? Did you hear the new Wooden Toaster drop? Like, I miss that. If you can't tell, I miss the sense of community. I miss the bated breath, waiting every day to see what came rolling out. And that isn't to say that that doesn't still exist now. The Brony fandom is very much alive and well, and it never went away. I think it just got a little bit quieter, and maybe it got a little less accepted. I think that Love and Tolerate might have gotten a little bit lost, but I think that's okay too, because I think that we will come around to it. I think we will work our way back to loving and tolerating, I hope. I never forgot, and I think that a lot of other people didn't either. And, you know, even if we did forget, I think we can be reminded. We all have it in us to love and tolerate, not to be preachy, but, you know, I mean, if we enjoyed Technicolor horses wiggling around on screen for 22.5 minutes, multiple times a day for however long it took for us to get here, then I think we can tolerate and love. So, I don't know. That was kind of a bit of a, like, wibble wobble all over the place discussion, but I hope that I kind of got my point across. I'm going to be coming back to talk again about Brony stuff. I mean, other things as well. But I will be probably making more Brony videos, because I have many things to say about Bronies, the Brony fandom, MLP as a whole. It's always a subject that's interested me. I do, you know, consider myself a Brony still actively. I mean, I have a pony Sona. It's cringe, I know, but I don't know. I don't know. Long live MLP. Long live MLP FIM. Brohoof.